All right. Hello and welcome to our Tier 1 Round 20 at Brazil. My name is Mitch. I am joined in the commentary box tonight with my fellow Tier 2 drivers, Ricky and MP. How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good, Thomas. I'm looking forward to this. It could be a title decider like Brazil last night, and yeah, Alcatel will be looking to wrap this up tonight, I feel. What about you, MP?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in close recently with the Tier 1 to know 100% what's been going on, but from the sounds of it, still that Altair is doing what he done last season and up the front majority of the time. And unfortunately tonight, though, we don't have as many drivers as we have had recently, which is a bit of a shame. But I'm sure they'll still give us a very good race tonight, though.
Yeah, the lack of the numbers has kind of been an issue that we've had, but we'll fight on. We'll find the drivers that will be able to compete in this tier. I'm sure of it. Just a matter of finding them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've got a few people who couldn't make it tonight, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully they'll be back next week for the last race of the season, I think, Tier 1. But I'm sure we'll get a good race tonight with the guys that are out there tonight. What's your guys' tip on the top three quali then, guys?
I'm going to go for Ferrer Rocher. I know he's fourth in the world in time trial, but the fact that he says he has good race pace, for me, is something that the other drivers should definitely be wary of. So I'm going to go for Jake for the win, and I'm going to go for Lego second and Al third.
Yeah, I think Jake's had some great pace the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping, for a good race. So I'll put Jake P1, Al P2, and Lego P3.
Yeah, so he just had Fruitful just set a time, quite a fast time for his first lap though, 1:81. With Simply in second at the moment on a 1:09.9. But apparently, from what I've heard, the whole race is going to be wet as well, so some of the quali could be a bit relevant to be honest.
Yeah, I did just notice that. I was actually kind of shocked that the first two races that we've had this week, no weather was ever involved. I mean, this is Brazil. Most of the time, weather, plays a huge factor in it. So, I guess I'm not really all that shocked to see this tier's race be a full wet one, but it'll make for a very interesting race.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it is very rare to get rain at Brazil, though, isn't it? Really. I mean, obviously, remember before in the past that we've had rain at Brazil, but a good 80-90% of the time it's always usually been dry. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a. They could probably been practicing all week doing the dry side of things, and now it's going to be wet for the race as well.
Yeah, on board now with Jake as he's on his first flying lap. Looks pretty tidy. I don't know, if they are running a full wet setup, what would you... Well, quality time from Fufu is a 1:08.1, so...
Yeah, I was just about to say, mate, 1:08.1 seems too quick for a wet setup, so... well, I mean, that's lightning pace on a wet setup.
Yeah, well, I did notice, at least with my own experience, and I went a little different compared to what everybody was running throughout the week. I saw a lot of 4.6, 5.5, 5.6. For me, I went a completely different direction. I went 1.9, and I did find out that the 1.9, my dry setup worked amazing in the wet. So unless they are running something similar, but I highly doubt it.
I just wonder, and I'm obviously just assuming, or I wonder if Lego hasn't had a wet setup, and he's going to time trial to get one.
It's either that or internet connection, but I've never seen him actually have an internet connection.
Is that
so
is that possible?
issue.
Can you do that?
I'm not actually
I
entirely
don't.
sure.
I'm not quite sure what the game would block. So if you left the session and you hadn't left the garage yet,
It's just an interesting, it's just an interesting thought I've had. You don't really practice in the wet, you know.
Well, saying that, Crochet has just gone second. Who you tipped, Ricky, done a 108.159, and Raikkonen's actually gone into the 107s. It's the first we've actually seen of someone in the 107s this week, to be honest, and to do it that early in quali as well.
yeah, very. Yeah, for if it's a full wet race, I mean, I don't know what kind of setup these guys would be running in order to. I don't know. I mean, 107 to me, that seems like a full drive setup, but again, I'm a tier 2 driver, I'm not tier 1.
7.7, a full wet setup is probably around a second, maybe a second and 2 tenths slower. So, I mean, are these guys really on that sort of pace? 1 minute 6.5? That seems a bit quick for me.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't actually seen a time from a couple of people yet. We haven't seen a time from Jamie, Thomas, Altakir or Lego yet, and obviously they're, quite competent front runners. So maybe they're thinking of just maybe doing the 1 run, maybe, or the 2 runs, just because they know it's wet for the race. Oh, was he off?
And he's got Lego coming up behind him. He's going to get a slip off out. He's going to get a slip off out. Ooh.
I mean, I think the setup round here is actually is quite a difficult one, really, because quite a lot of people have, well, especially from what I experienced in Tier 2, quite a lot of people have gone with different ideas of the setup. I mean, I went slightly different to some other people did. Like obviously Mitch, you went something completely different to what I did. But the biggest thing I think I found that I struggled with the most was the understeer issue around here. And not so much, you didn't really get affected by dirty air too badly, it was just more I just struggled really badly with understeer around here, didn't really matter what I did. So I wonder how these guys have got around it, and especially now with the wet race coming into it, how they're getting around the setup side of it as well.
Yeah, Lego must have been validated, he's boxed, so hasn't set a time just yet. Alcacere's coming around the final corner.
He's going into the pit, so
he's boxing.
I mean, who have we got on a lap at the moment?
Dougie, that's an invalidation.
Right, Raikkonen just did a lap, and he matched his time with 1/1000th of his time. So he literally just matched it. We've got Fruitfuls coming out for another lap again. So's Thomas is just coming in. It's not really anyone that's actually on a lap at the moment. I think we've got Konzo who's on a lap. I think he's the only one that's on a lap at the moment.
Yeah, I think
I'm on 4 with him at the moment.
Kimmy must be on the dry setup.
You would, yeah, I would think to. I mean,
if he is, he's going to struggle.
Oh yeah, I mean this plays full wet. I mean, to my opinion, most of the time the setup's completely different. For me, it was a little different in that sense that I just didn't have the one lap pace, so I found something comfortable in order to get through the race. Because anything else that I tried during this week, it was horrendous trying to just keep the car stable. So I'm very interested. I mean, if they went on a dry setups, unless they just feel like there's no difference in a dry setup to a wet setup here, which could totally be a possibility.
I mean, I to be honest, me personally, I think, between a dry and a wet setup around here, I personally think that the wet setup is going to be further away than the dry than it would be at other tracks. just because of that. You know, once you get past the main straight and the second long straight, and you get to the end of the first sector, and you get the middle and the last sector, it's very dependent on the car setup because it's so demanding. It's like it's like a go-kart track. So you can lose so much time in that middle sector if you're on the wrong setup in the wet, compared to the other guys. So if Raikkonen is on that dry setup, I think he could be very vulnerable in the race, to be honest. I think probably the top three are probably, from pace-wise looking at it, I think they potentially be on more dry settings than wet as the others, I think, at the moment. I mean, Crucial's just finishing his lap at the moment. He's just done a 1:07.8.
Great lap from him.
Brilliant lap from him. Howard Takir is just about to come on to start his lap.
Important lap for Simply. He's coming across the line, doing his first flying lap. Let's see what he can do as he starts his flyer.
He actually, I think he invalidated him.
No, this is his first lap.
Yeah, first lap in the second step. So,
yeah, we've still got three people in 9th, 10th and 11th, Konzo, Jamie and Lego. They still haven't actually set a time yet. I think Konzo bailed out of his lap, which he must have invalidated on. Jamie's on his lap at the moment, he's in sector 1. But surprisingly, Lego's still sitting in the pits at the moment.
I'm curious as to what happened to Jakey, as he did retire sitting P3. He only did the one run. I just curious as if he lost it somewhere. I couldn't find it. But hopefully he should be safe, at least from. He might drop a couple positions, but he shouldn't drop any further than probably P6 at the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think the time he's actually set, I think realistically the top three are more on a dry setting than what the rest of the field are on at the moment. Personally, just because of the little bit of a gap between third and fourth compared to the others. So I think that's probably what he's actually on at the moment.
I guess we'll find out in a couple of minutes, but Raikkonen looking good for pole right now.
Yeah, I'm just on board now with Konzo. See what he puts in. As he does run a bit wide. Konzo's definitely probably on a wet setup.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it could be as much as 2 seconds a lap quicker, so what they lose in the quali session really won't come into effect because they'll more than gain that in the race, so I expect Konzo to make a lot of movement.
Oh, absolutely. I think the wet races, you don't have to be the fastest guy in qualifying in a wet race. It's just about keeping the car on track and taking advantage of other people's mistakes. And on top of that, if you're a competent wet driver, you can go for moves that guys wouldn't even dare to think about doing in the wet.
Yeah, essentially you turn into Max Verstappen and you just blitz the field. So yeah, but last few minutes, Konzo just coming in now, so I wonder if he's done. He might have time. It's only 1:10 laps, so pretty tight. Yeah. I mean, the last race, I think was it Japan? The last wet race in Tier 1?
I believe so.
No, it wasn't Japan. It was it Singapore? Maybe Singapore, but Al absolutely dominated it.
Oh yeah, it was Singapore, and Lego does his lap and goes P3. So
That's his quality over. Alcatia's got work to do in the race though, which should be fun.
Well, it just makes me wonder, did Al just go full wet setup, let the other guys go out there, set down these quick times, and he'll take advantage of it when the track is soaking wet?
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume, but Alcatia is in the way of Raikkonen, who might be on a flying lap. And this is going to get ugly. Thankfully, Raikkonen does improve, so he shouldn't get a penalty for that.
Yeah, I'm assuming probably Al gave his teammate a tow down the long straight to...
yeah, perhaps.
And Al's trying to improve on his time, but it did not see the first sector split, so I'm not quite sure if he's up on his time or not.
Really wants to get on the second row at very least here. Let go in Al on the second row, that could be tasty.
That's what I think any race fan would really want in that situation. Especially anybody that, you know, watches our Tier 1 every week in and week out. These two tend to always make it very interesting.
3, 4, 5. It's just quicker, but it's not good enough. He does jump Thomas.
Fools run wide in the first sector. Just trying to go on board here with anybody that's on a flying lap.
Thomas is crossing the line now.
Sorry guys, I went a bit quiet there. I had to adjust some audio settings of mine.
Thomas doesn't improve.
Yep, Dougie's just coming up to finish a lap, and he was 2 tenths up in the middle last sector.
Calzo's 2 times down, so he's not going to be improving.
And Dougie didn't actually improve, he actually matched his personal best. So he stays where he is. The only other people on the laps
Calzo
is
doesn't improve.
Altakir, but he's 12 seconds off, so I think that's actually it for Polly, to be honest.
Jamie didn't set a time. Disaster.
No. The thing is with 11 drivers though, I think with 11 drivers though, and being a wet race as well, I think he's, you know, looking at from what you actually did yesterday, Mitch, I think he can go forward from there, to be honest.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, MP, that everyone will be on the same tyre, whereas yesterday Mitch had the option of going on the harder tempo. So he's not a great quality.
But
No,
you could take advantage of it in the wet situation. You just kind of as long as you're patient in the wet and just kind of let the race play to you. It is a long race. It's 36 laps, but again, it's a very quick lap. But there's a lot of corners around this track that, in the wet, can become very tricky. So, as long as you keep it patient and keep your front wing clean, there's a good chance that you can pick up positions just kind of playing the conservative game.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest factors for the race is keeping the wheels off the curbs. I think wet weather, you do not want to be accelerating on the wet paint. So, yeah, I think we're going to see some cagey first few laps. Just getting the feel for the track.
I mean, to be honest, obviously a rundown from the quali order. Raikkonen on pole. Oh, it's disappeared now. But I mean, from the looks of it, the time that Raikkonen set was quite an impressive time, especially to be nearly 4 tenths up from second place as well. Very impressive time, to be honest.
Yeah, the toe must have gotten 2-3 tenths there. I want to know who the engineers are who put the front wings out in the wet. Like, surely they would get fired.
Yeah, surely they didn't think that through.
Like, I know there's a little bit of cover there, but what if the rain comes in from the side? I mean, you know, bloody Codemasters.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting Senna S's.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first lap is going to be very interesting to see how everyone gets on. Especially because obviously we're on the start line, you're actually climbing uphill. So wheel spin off the line is very, very easy at this track, even in the dry. So let alone in the wet weather. So it's going to be quite a struggle for these guys off the line.
Kimmy's really sliding. Oh, my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing that too. At first I thought he was just having a little bit of fun in the wet. Just kind of see what the tires feel like, or just trying to get them up to temp.
Yeah.
I've not really had any issues in this game at all with the wet tires when it comes to getting them up to temp. The issues I've noticed is once that dry line starts to come in, is the overheating of the wet tire in this year's game. I don't know if it's just me or if anybody else if you guys have noticed that or not.
Well, my understanding is that it is a full wet race, and so these conditions will stay. So that they will probably pit again, because I'm not sure one set of tires will make it.
I just pulled up the tire detail, and I did notice that Jamie 1S, starting in P11, he's gambled. Everybody on the grid is on the wet tire. He's gone to the intermediate.
No, this is full wets.
It looks like a full wet situation to me, but I think if you just kind of, as long as you don't fall outside the window of everybody in front of you, you might pick up a few positions that way. But at the start, it's going to be extremely hard for him.
Yeah, for sure. If he can keep it on the track, and it does dry up within the first maybe 4 or 5 laps, the mentors will come into play. So it could be a touch of genius.
Could
right
be.
Now I'm biting it.
Yeah, right now, I mean, he's got to be thinking this is either going to work or not.
Here we go.
3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix for our Tier 1.
Kimmy slow. Fruitful's got the lead. Got the inside line. Look at Lego on the inside of Kimmy as well. Pink. Kimmy's lost it. And I think Ferrero Rocher's got damage.
Yeah, he did lose a little bit of a front wing. At first I thought it might have been Lego, but actually I had the racing points mixed up on my view. Yeah, so Jake has taken some front wing damage, but other than that, it seems like everybody got through pretty cleanly.
And Kimmy, who qualified on pole, maybe running that dry setup, has already lost 3 positions, and it's at a case of no grip and too much of a dry setup.
Yeah, he's probably going to be struggling.
I mean, we did kind of in some senses predict this.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I especially said, probably the top 3 from quali were going to struggle a bit. I mean,
Lego's lagging. Lego's lagging big time.
Okay, so we definitely know it wasn't him trying to get a wet setup. He's having some internet connection issues tonight, and you can see Al's just kind of leaving a bit of a gap to that car, because I'm sure on his screen he's kind of bouncing around a little bit.
And Fruitful Q has absolutely steamrolled this lap 1, considering that his quali pace was quality.
It was going to go in then. Oh, he's a bit of a slight loss.
Oh my god, that lag is so bad.
That was really poor then. I mean, he was in 2 different places at once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you know he's bouncing off the rev limiter and the camera, so he definitely is probably having some issues with some lag.
Come on, Lego, you've got to leave the room. Lego did not leave any room whatsoever there.
No, but Raikkonen takes advantage of that and moves through.
was quite
Nah.
a little bit poor driving from Lego there, to be honest, because he started weaving
Yeah.
as well when he came out the corner.
Oh, bit of a late
and,
move.
Oh, that was a really late move from
I
out
think
here.
Lego's going to make the same sort of move. Oh my god, this is just stupid,
this
guys.
is really messy.
Now it's just stupid. They're both
That
right.
was really poor that was really poor from both of them, to be honest. Really,
Yeah.
really poor.
Well, if anything, it benefits Alcatia because he's in front, and yeah, Lego's behind him.
And because of that,
Yeah,
JB1S on the intermediates has moved up from the rear all the way up to P7.
Yeah, I mean, I think it won't be too long until they both get past him, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know that it's. Yeah, it's
And Raikkonen has
that was
left,
very poor
so did he lose connection or?
I don't know if Lego's got an issue with his gearbox.
I mean, Lego's just going into the pits as well.
Yeah, because he's on the
That's
limiter.
damaged front wing. He didn't even. That's very weird. He didn't even change his front wing, to be honest, which doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. I don't think he is actually damaged, though. To be fair. I mean, back with the leaders, though.
Yeah, that all stemmed from Lego. What looked to me like he didn't give Al a fair car's width. Basically, shut the door when Al was already there. They still battled, and then Al made a late lunge into first slow right-hander. Lego didn't like it and went up the inside, and there was just no room there. And as a result, they spun.
What's happened? What's just happened to Raikkonen? He's just lost.
Raikkonen lagged out, or
Yeah, he either lagged out. He did just join back in, so hopefully he can get back in that car.
He's still ghosting at the moment.
Got
Yeah.
Konzo trying to make a move down the inside of Dougie into the center S's, and he has to back out of it.
Fruitball's got a outrageous lead at the moment. He's 8.5 seconds ahead. You know, from the start.
simply
of that ball.
looks like he has the pace of Thomas here.
Yeah, I mean, even lap time wise, he is actually a little bit up on Thomas's pace. I mean, at the moment, Fruitball's actually got he's flying at the moment. He's at 1.5 seconds faster than these guys behind him. Funny enough, the person who set the fastest lap at the moment though is Calzo, 1:21.6 at the moment, so he's 4/10 up on anyone else at the moment.
I just want to point out that Jamie is losing time, so the intermediate hasn't worked out. I know he's gained positions, and that's because certain battles, but the intermediate is not the right tyre.
No,
What
it's
happened to Profit? He's retired. I don't think any of us saw what happened there because he's retired now.
yeah. I'm not quite sure. I know he went in and he had to pit on after lap 1. I just wonder if he went back into the pits and just retired due to the fact that he was so far behind. Just a little bit unfortunate because with the way the race has kind of gone so far, he probably could have made up some time and positions because of some of the issues.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I mean, we've only got 10 runners now from 11. And Calzo does actually set the fastest lap again. He's a 10th fastest lap in his time. But, I mean, he's a long way off the lead at the moment. He's 29 seconds off the lead. And there is a little battle going on between Calzo and Konzo at the moment, though, and the two Renaults. They're very close together and they've just switched around.
Yeah, the two brothers probably a little bit of a, hey, I'm faster, let me through. Konzo can try to hang on and get a little bit of a slipstream, but I mean, slipstreaming around here in the full wet, if you're off the pace, it's not going to do you any justice because you're just going to fall out of any type of a slipstream.
Well, to be honest, it'd be probably silly of Konzo to hold up his teammate, considering he's over a second and a half a lap faster than him at the moment.
Right.
You know, it might be helpful for Konzo to be in behind him and maybe see if he can pick up a bit more pace by following him to try and help his own race. Or either that Conzo's more towards a dry setup and Calzo's gone full wet. He didn't qualify that high up, did he? So, yeah, at the moment it's kind of quite neutral at the moment, other than that.
Just want to say, although I know Lego and Alcatia will probably both send in footage, it's been a massive result for Alcatia here. Not only is he 4 places above him, so he'll extend his lead, but he's also catching Kimi Räikkönen, so it's actually worked out pretty well for Alcatia.
I'm just quite surprised that Lego just took that amount of risks to now put himself that far down as well. It just wasn't really it was better just to concede the position and just fight another day, and then try and have a go back at him, than losing out 7 potential places. Better to drop to 3rd than drop down to 10th. From my view of it, I would say. You can't always win every battle you're in.
Yeah, I know, but like at the end of the day, he's got to make up ground on Alcatia. So I think, at the end of the day, it could have been Alcatia who's in 10th and him who's 6th, and then, he's then happy. But you live and die by the sword.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, as they say, you have to risk it to get the biscuit, as they say.
Yeah, and right now Alcatia should be putting absolutely everything into this race, because he has a massive chance to get in one hand on that title.
Oh, which, with his type of pace in the wet, I'm sure his mind is made up to try to get back to the podium. It'll be very interesting to see, what comes from the incident between the two, but I also have kind of noticed that lag in this game breeds other lag. So we did see Kimi drop out, but them being around Kimi, was that the reason, for some of the lag that was happening? Or if being around, if it was Lego that was causing the issue. So it'll be interesting to see everybody's POVs as to what caused the issue.
Yeah, for sure, Lego was definitely lagging. Kimi, as you know, was in the league many months ago, has historically had lagging issues and jumping out of the lobbies. He says his internet's fine, so...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Kimi, I didn't see anything from his car that said he was lagging, but again, when one internet connection's bad and you're near that bad internet connection, it unfortunately can cause some issues.
Yeah, I mean, as it is at the moment, Raikkonen's actually just set the fastest lap on a 1:21.4. He's actually the fastest person on track at the moment.
Is that because the track is drying up though, MP?
I don't think it is. I think maybe just where we had a dry qualifying and maybe these guys haven't done as much wet running as they have dry running, most likely, or some of them might not have done really much at all. They're probably just getting more and more feel for the track, and that's why everyone's times are coming down a little bit. I mean, everyone's near enough going quicker nearly every lap, to be fair, or setting personal bests, and so I think they're just settling into the race more and getting a feel for the conditions a lot better, to why they're finding a bit more pace.
Yeah, Kimi's definitely the quickest guy on track right now. He's taking another second out of Dougie, and once he gets to Dougie, he's right there with P2, because Dougie's only a second behind that. So this is about to come a 4-way fight for P2.
Yeah, I've noticed Oh, go ahead, MP.
I was going to say that the thing is, though, is obviously we thought, he started on pole, set the really fast time on pole and everything, and we thought, he must be on a dry setup, and he's just going to set the fastest lap. So, it proves to the point how much pace he's actually got in that car at the moment to, the pace he actually had in quali as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their pace is going to be a lot quicker than any of the other tiers, so maybe, the idea of that they're on a wet setup that they should be in the mid 108s or even maybe low 109s. Maybe that's a little too far-fetched to think. I definitely got it wrong if they are on a wet setup.
Yeah, I want to throw it out there that Thomas is doing a great job in P2, holding up. You know, these guys. Look at Fruitful's lead right now. Great teamwork going on here at Ferrari.
Yeah, it's working out beautifully for them. And I was going to say that, you know, we were watching Simply catch Thomas, but it was like he got to Thomas, but couldn't get by Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really the. It is a very, very difficult track to overtake.
Raikkonen's
I don't think it's just close enough just yet. But yeah, I mean, it is a very, very difficult. And
Simply's got wide.
Dougie's just got by Simply.
Switch back. Kimmy's got the run. Kimmy's got the run on the outside. Turns into the inside.
Oh yeah,
Kimmy's
got him as well. Simply's just gone down from 3rd to 5th. In the space of just a couple of corners there.
Yeah, actually,
great drive from you guys.
What I saw from that situation was Dougie Simply's teammate decided right before the braking zone to dive out and go down the inside of Simply, and it probably caught his teammate out a little bit. So Dougie takes that position away, and because of that, it left Simply vulnerable to the Mercedes behind him, and Raikkonen took full advantage of Simply being out of shape after that situation.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, to be honest, Dougie has actually looked like the fastest person out the top 3 at the moment.
Give me on, Dougie.
Oh, is it gonna? Oh, they make contact.
Yeah, I think Kimmy should do that position up. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to there, but he might get the run on him down here though. And then just out the 3rd corner, then straight. Raikkonen's going to squeeze down the inside of him, and he's made it. Whether Dougie's going to get the undercut on him or not.
Yeah, he is.
Oh no, yeah.
It was tight.
That was real tight.
I don't think it was anyone at fault. It was no one at fault. I think it was just one of them. There was no grip for Dougie to go on the stricter line, and the same for Kimmy. So definitely racing incident.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially in the wet in that corner. If you think about going full throttle, the car just wants to step out on you. So I'm sure both of them probably tried to go full throttle, and that's the incident that you get out of the situation.
I'm just thinking how powerful the undercut's going to be around here. 100% they're going to have to pit. I'm so confident of that. With these guys battling as much as they are, the guy in 6th position might even perform the undercut.
Yeah.
I think it surprised me though. Thomas isn't actually the fruitful to Thomas pace-wise is actually settled down. Oh, and Dougie's just gone for a massive. Oh, he's completely overshot the corner there.
Wow, he's gone to the co-op.
Yeah, he's going to be vulnerable to out of gear now from doing that. He's not really. I'm surprised there. Dougie didn't really decide to defend there. Really, he kind of let out of gear have the position. Really.
He's gone wide.
Yeah.
He's gone into him.
Oh,
Dougie lost it. He went onto the base and spun it into L, I think, rather than.
I think that was some of that was caused where Dougie kind of pinched out of gear a little bit, and then out of gear just slightly touched him, which pushed him into that curb, and then Dougie lost it on the curb. I think that's where that's come from, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like to me. He definitely accelerated on the curb, and just like Ricky said before the start of the race, you don't want to touch the wet paint and hit the accelerator at the same time. That's unfortunately what's going to happen to you. You're just going to loop the car.
Kimmy's got a good run on Tom here. I'm not sure he can make it into turn 1. He is catching him. He is catching him.
Is Thomas going to defend? No. Oh, yeah, he's going for it.
Thomas is very nice there. He's going to get the switch back, get the better line.
He's right there. He's going to go around the outside though.
Wow, look at the traction.
Right,
so much more grip on the outside.
Yeah, and Thomas is going to have to fall back in the line. So, I mean, fair play to Thomas. He hasn't had the pace of his teammate, Fruitful, but he's done Fruitful and a solid. I mean, he gave him a 12.5-second gap to these guys. And now the question is Kimmy's pace any better than Fruitful's? And if it is, how much better? I mean, we do still have more than half the race available, but
Sure.
in the wet, it's so much harder to claw back that time, especially when the guy in the front is been absolutely flying. But now that I say that,
yeah.
Kimmy
it's the first time you got
is.
clean air, isn't it? So
There's a.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing at the moment is obviously Fruitful got that big gap within the first 5 or 6 laps, and it actually stayed at the 10. Thomas was actually keeping the actual gap to Fruitful quite a numerous amount of laps, or a good 5 or 6 laps to be honest. So I think Thomas was just being very nice and smooth and nice and consistent, maybe compared to Fruitful, why he was keeping the gap. I mean, Reichenn at the moment he has started to pull away from Thomas, and he's starting to close down Fruitful a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's gained. Raikkonen started taking a second out of Fruitful's lead in 1 lap. So as of right now, Kimi is 100% the fastest car on the track. His teammate is now on the back of the Ferrari, so Al's looking to get himself back onto the podium, and it'll be just like Italy this past week. We'll have 2 Mercedes hunting down a Ferrari.
I mean, there was a little incident that just happened there for Thomas. He lost the car on I think it was the 5th turn 5, and as he pushed him out over the curb, and as he came back onto the track, he lost time, but he actually got given a 3-second time penalty for it. So as long as he doesn't get any other warnings in this race, he probably will be able to get that time penalty removed, because it was a rather unfairly given penalty for a time loss that he had.
It's unfortunate the game decides when you get a penalty when you maybe even just trying to keep your car from looping. It's unfortunate that it does. Thomas
goes the inside. Oh, that was really tight. I can see it.
He's still
side by side. Sends it to the inside. He's not going to get it.
No, he's backed out of there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Great defending there by Thomas.
Alcatir with a great switch around the outside.
He's going to get one out of road there, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which he did done. I mean, you can't really, in that type of corner, you can't go around the outside because the car just naturally runs you out wide. Which is obviously why you'd actually back out of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Reichen's closed it down by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's around a second a lap, isn't it? That he seems to be doing right now.
I mean, lap time wise, he is about 6/10 faster a lap. To Fruitful.
Jimmy's gonna have to send this if he wants to get past. He does. He's already shot it. He's locked up. Switch back. Switch back again. No. Hangs it out. No, Tom.
Oh.
I thought
I thought he was going to spin Kimmy's Alcatir's back wheels then.
And to be fair, great driving by both. We did have the other Mercedes pull into the pits, and he did receive a 5-second time penalty. So all that time he's gained, he's essentially just lost it by speeding into the pit lane, which is very easily done here. I did notice, especially if you use with the racing line on, it tells you when to brake. It's all wrong, especially at Brazil.
I think it's like that at most tracks, actually.
Oh, it is, but it seems like it's even way off at Brazil.
I feel like Fruitful has to react to that, guys.
I think he does too, because
otherwise he's going to lose so much time.
Yeah, the fresher tires are.
Well, it proves the point with Lego at the moment. Apparently his lap time was a 1:18 dead, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, don't know if that's too much to go by, but yeah, I mean, the last time he's
So-
on 12 lap old wets at the moment.
So I'll change the interval to the leader, and let's just see. Kimi is going to be 29 seconds behind the leader, and just see how much time, because Fruitful decided to stay out at least one extra lap. He might continue on, but we'll see how much time Kimi can pick up here.
It's important to know that just because it's 29 seconds behind, you've got to remember people's out lap is going to be slower than dry conditions, and so is their in lap. So yes, it is longer than the normal stock in dry conditions, but it's also longer to go around. So
Yes, that's very true.
It's about 20 seconds of stop, isn't it? I think.
It is
In the
normally,
dry.
but in the wet, it's probably another 5 or 6 seconds on top of that. So, and then your outlap's going to be a lot slower.
yeah. So
I mean,
all I'm thinking is the 5 seconds that Raikkonen has cost himself, he'd probably get that back through being on the fresher tyre.
Yeah, I mean, Calzo's in not too bad of a
I'm pretty sure it's done the same thing.
And that avoids any type
Wow.
of time, anything.
Wow. And he's already lost time because of Kimi on the fresher tyre.
Yeah,
This
so
could be
Here's coming as well.
this could be very close.
down
That
to
is,
as low as
6
6 seconds. This could be as low as 6 seconds, guys.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I
I
mean,
think,
Kimi's he's gonna cut probably half this time.
Well, Kimi's actually, he's got past Alcatir and Simply.
It's around 6 seconds.
Well, he has gained a bit. He's gained a second and a half. Yeah, about a second and a half. Well, actually more than that because of this outlap for Fruitful. He's just under the 8-second mark, where it was 10.5 seconds before he went in the pits. So he has gained just over 2 seconds.
Yeah. And what Raikkonen needs now is Calzo to just pit, and then it's all just a matter of preserve your tyre and see where you end up. This is going to get really tasty.
I think Calzo, he's on 16 old wets at the moment, so he did stop around end of lap 2. So he will definitely be. I wouldn't be surprised if he does stop again. I mean, he could potentially make it, try and see if it will go to the end, but I can't see it.
Yeah, I'm on board right now with Altakir, and he's stuck behind Konzo, the other Renault, and so is Thomas. So they're all, well, Al has just gotten through, so, but Al followed him for most of that middle sector and lost a ton of time because of that. Let's just see. I mean, Raikkonen's, because of the pit stops, he's cut into Fruitful by another 2 seconds. And at the rate he was catching Fruitful, well, it was about a second a lap. So by lap 26, 27, he'll be on the back of that Ferrari.
I think we should give Lego a bit of credit here for not giving up. You know, after that incident went to last, could easily have got frustrated. He's fighting on and clearly just hoping for a safety car or something, but we all know that's non-existent on this game. But
yeah, I mean, fair play to him. After the incident, he had to pit, and it just hasn't been the best race for him, but he'll at least be able to stick it out and get some points, or even, you know, God forbid a safety car actually happens in a 50% race in this game, which I have not seen yet. I mean, if I was him, it would be really boring, but, you know, fair play to him for sticking it out.
I'm really surprised that Altakir, because I presume he didn't get a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But he's still 16 seconds off the lead, and he was roughly round about 15 seconds off the lead when he came in before they all pitted. So I would have thought he brought that time down quite a lot. Maybe he did lose quite a lot of time behind Konzo. Maybe that's where he lost quite a lot of time.
yeah, what I'm going to say is, it looks like Alcatia and Fruitful pitted on the same lap. So if Fruitful came out first, he would have been on the quicker tyre. Sorry, on the fresher tyre on them conditions first. So he would have gained time slightly.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could be it. I mean, both Al and Thomas were battling coming out of the pits, so on top of that, and then you got stuck behind the Renault that hadn't pit yet, and Kimmy just
Oh, he's retired.
He's retired. I caught that on stream, and
He's
it almost.
dropped it.
Where's he lost it? He's lost
Where's the
it.
safety car?
There,
Safety car, safety car.
You know, he's lost it in the second to last corner. He must have caught the curve and he's completely spun it and put it in the wall, from the looks of it.
Well, this is great for Alcatia.
I mean, it is a big shame for Raikkonen there, because it would have been interesting to see if he was able to catch Fruitful. When Calzo just stops, that's quite a big shocker, to be honest.
Yeah, it's nullified the race for sure.
I mean, how will this work now for Raikkonen? Because he will still finish 10th on track, but does he have to complete a certain amount of percentage?
Yeah,
of the race
it's
to get
normally
points?
90% of the race, I believe. So that'll be
Right.
a non-point non-classification. So 0
Right,
points,
okay.
even though you finished 10th.
Right, okay, yeah. So I know obviously in the past people have had points, even though they didn't finish.
I think they did enough percentage of the race to qualify.
Yeah, you have to. I believe you have to at least complete 90% of the race, and if you are inside the top 10 at that point, you will receive a point. Like last week, or Belgium with Lando, if he would have been able to stay inside the top 10, even though he didn't finish the race, he would have received a point for completing 90% of the race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'd be interesting now to see how Takir could do. I mean, I don't think he's got the same type of pace that Raikkonen had over Fruitful. I mean, he's in fastest lap time wise. Al is he's only about 2/10 faster than Fruitful in fastest lap wise. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see what can materialise, and for all we know, Fruitful could make a mistake, or vice versa for Al.
Yeah, because as long as this race goes on, I mean, Fruitful has just pulled away from Al, and I'm very, very interested in seeing when I was on board with Raikkonen when he went off, and he was going into the second to last corner, and it was just like he either lost the back end of the car and it just went straight on, but in my opinion, it looked like he just went straight on and just kind of lost down the curbing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very surprised we didn't get a virtual safety car, or at the minimum, to be honest, for that incident.
Right, well,
big thanks to Codemasters.
Yeah, Codemasters, for whatever reason, has basically gotten rid of, at least that's what it seems like. I have not seen a safety car in a 50% race yet.
Nah, same. And Lego, just by staying in the race, has gone up a position because of Raikkonen. That's 2 points. Maybe get the fastest lap, that'll be 3. And not much going on in this Grand Prix right now.
I mean, it has been a very quiet race. I mean, obviously that is probably due to the fact that we've only actually had 11 competitors.
Yeah, for sure.
But also where, a wet race at some tracks, it can usually be very entertaining because of the fact of the style of the track. But I think even with a dry race here, is because it is so hard to overtake around here, it does end up with a lot of single file racing going on. It probably is more so worse in the wet as well because of that.
Yeah, for sure. The numbers is the main reason. Of course, I'm sure that'll be rectified for season 4. Right now, Thomas is comfy for P3.
Yeah, there's really no battles. Kelzo's
Yeah,
trying to get back to Simply.
Yeah.
He's trying to get there. Konzo is on the back of Jamie, who hasn't pitted since he decided that the intermediate tire just wasn't the gamble. Yeah, it's unfortunate the number issue, not having a full grid or close to a full grid. It makes it so these types of races just kind of become fanned out, and there's not a whole lot of wheel to wheel.
Yeah, I mean Thomas is on a 3-second penalty at the moment. How far back is Simply at the moment? He's actually just within 3 seconds on the limit at the moment. 3.2 back, and Simply doesn't actually have a time penalty at the moment, so Simply could actually jump Thomas if Simply doesn't get a time penalty.
Yeah, unfortunately for Thomas, he might want to try to pick up this pace, because I'm just kind of watching the intervals as we go, and there's a Renault in P5 and Calzo that his pace is pretty rapid from what it looks like, and he may just go up there and steal that position from Thomas if Thomas doesn't get a move on.
Calzo looks quicker on the second stint than he did in the first, and Simply seems slower. And I think that's what's happened here. They're both being drawn to each other, and Thomas is not too far away.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think Calzo in his first stint, when I looked at his lap times were actually fast enough to be quicker. The only person who was really quicker on track was actually Raikkonen. So his pace was really good. I think he was just compromised from having to stop on the end of lap 2, which kind of put him out of it a bit. But where obviously other people have had time penalties, or they've been fighting on track a little bit, I think it's brought Calzo back in a little bit, and whereas with his pace as well, he started to bring him back in. And he's right on the back of Simply at the moment. So there's potential for him to make an overtake soon. And he is close enough. We're going down the main straight at the moment. Calzo's right there and he's going down the inside of him. He's got the run on him. I think he's got this one done.
Yeah, that was probably as easy an overtaking get at Brazil in the wet as you could possibly get.
Yeah, he had it pretty much done before he even got to the corner.
Fair play by him. He has picked up the pace, it seems like, immensely on the his fresher softs. Fresher wet, yeah. Softs on this wet track would be interesting to watch. His fresher wet tires compared to the guys in front of him, he does have, 3 to 4 lap fresher tires. So Thomas is definitely within striking distance for Calzo. Calzo might be able to go up there and steal away this podium position from that Ferrari.
I just want to point out that Calzo does have a 5-second time penalty for what looks to be exceeding the pit limiter. So
that might potentially be the same as what Fruitful and Raikkonen had when it was going in the pit. So whether he served it or not we don't know.
Calzo did his on the first lap, so what would that be? What would that be for 5 seconds?
Well, the thing is, he has stopped twice, though, isn't he?
Was it a stop-go? Yeah, well, he did take damage, I believe, at the beginning of the race. Wasn't he a part of the Senna S's at the beginning? So he may have taken damage and then just sped into the pits on lap 1.
But I think he would have served that penalty.
Oh yeah, he would have served that penalty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think on track now, he hasn't. I don't think he's got any other penalties at the moment. So
yeah.
As it stands, I think he is fighting for what. Well, technically, currently, from what was on the track at the moment, he would technically overtake Thomas if the race stopped now, because Thomas has got a 3-second time penalty. But Calzo hasn't.
I'm just on board with. on board with Konzo, the Calzo's teammate and brother, trying to get by Jamie 1S, who's doing a fantastic job, I must say, with on 21 lap old wet tires. I'm not quite sure how long the wet tires supposed to last, but I'm sure those things are right at the end of their life, if not coming very close to the end of them.
Yeah, I mean, the person who's, yeah, I mean, he's been on them tyres for 21 laps. Maybe he's trying just to make him last to the end, maybe, I don't know. Especially because Dougie is 24 seconds off Conzo at the moment, so could try to see if they will last to the end. And we've got Calzo and Thomas together on track at the moment. I think Calzo's he's got the run on Thomas at the moment.
Terrible camera angle.
Looks like he's got good straight line speed.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Because he definitely didn't have the best run out of the Senna S's down the hill, but Thomas ran away from Calzo in a straight line, so a Ferrari tactic. They're going for the straight line speed instead of cornering.
To be honest, I think that generally it's a bit of a shame for Calzo, really, because the potential that what could be for Calzo if he didn't have to stop in the first couple of laps. I mean, because of the pace he's got and how comfortable he actually looks in the wet, I think he could have challenged Fruitful quite comfortably, to be honest.
There's an Easter egg in the stream.
There's an Easter.
Can anyone tell me what the Easter egg was?
I can only imagine.
Anyone in stream points that out gets 5 points.
So Calzo's gonna try to make another run at the Ferrari, but I mean, Thomas, we've been saying, Thomas's straight line speed and defending into this corner has been, I mean, fair play to him. It's been fantastic. He's been able to keep guys behind him when he needs to.
Oh, Calzo, give it up, man. You're not going to pass there. I can see Calzo getting a little bit frustrated here because he knows the laps are going.
Yeah, I mean, currently at the moment, Thomas is falling behind Altier at the moment. It's actually neutralised between Altier and Fruitful at the moment. The time is pretty much staying as it is, really.
Yeah,
maybe Altier just set the distance and just set them for the second now, just for the championship side of it.
Conzo and Jamie are close.
See if Calzo can actually get to the back of this Ferrari. Thomas is he's able to stay ahead of him, and it's just a difference in wing, or if it's a difference in who's got the better traction coming out of these corners. So yeah, Calzo will have to stare at the back of that red wing for at least another lap, I would assume.
Calzo got complete overspeed there.
The only thing is, though, Thomas is in a bit of danger at the moment, though, because Thomas has only got 5% ERS at the moment, where Calzo's got 80, nearly 90% of ERS at the moment. So Thomas isn't really maintaining his ERS very well at the moment. I mean, it will be. I think potentially this next lap, I think Calzo could do the overtake on him.
Yeah, also looking at Thomas.
Sorry, Mitch, but the guy who's loving this is simply because he has no penalties.
Yeah, he wants those guys to just keep fighting. And I just noticed when I switched over to Thomas, he is running light on fuel. His fuel light is on, so...
Thomas made a mistake. This is it. Thomas made a mistake. He lost the back end. And it has to be overtaken. Oh, he's hitting. I don't think he's going to get it done.
Ooh.
Leave the room, Thomas.
Thing is, he could get it done down the next straight, because I think...
he had such a good chance there. Thomas is struggling for traction out the corners.
And ERS, I think he's gonna get past down the straight, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. Thomas is going very aggressive, but
I'm really
it's on the
surprised.
edge. It's on the edge.
I'm really surprised that
Calzo's got the inside.
to be honest, Thomas should have given him a little bit more room then.
Yeah, slightly more in, but
Yeah, Thomas is definitely playing the on the edge.
he's gonna make this stick. Thomas can't put him off like that.
He should have given him a bit more room than that, to be totally honest.
Yeah. Try
He's
being
still there.
aggressive. Switch back.
Oh, he's got a little. He's not going to make it around the outside. There.
No, not on the outside. Just set it up for the straight. You've got the ERS.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Thomas. He's got 20%, 27% left, and Calzo's racing him not using ERS at all. I would keep forcing Tom. I mean, eventually Thomas is going to have to. He's either going to run out of fuel or succeed the position, because he is running light on fuel as well, and he has no ERS left. And this is probably it. Yep, Calzo's done it this time. He's done it around the outside, down the Ascent S's, better traction, and he should be able to pull away now.
I'm going to see him pull away quite easily. Well, that was a good battle. It was intense. I have to say that Thomas was on the verge of literally not giving him enough. I still think it was a little bit naughty, but ultimately Calzo's got the move done and
he's moved on.
I think, to be honest, really, I don't think Thomas should have really tried fighting with Calzo so hard, just because of the fact that he's now put himself under threat to simply overtaking him as well because of the time penalty. So he was never going to beat. I don't think he was ever really going to beat Calzo just because of the time penalties. Calzo could have just sat behind him.
Yeah, but this part of the race, it's you get the racer's mentality. You know how it goes. It's hard to just say, all right, back out of this. It's not worth it, and try to play the conservative route. This late in the race, you're trying to hold on for a podium. You know your teammate's winning the race. The next best thing would be both of you. A double podium is the next goal there.
Yeah, and also Thomas might know that Calzo had or has a 5-second penalty, and of course the longer he goes on holding him up, the less likely Calzo is to get that 2-second advantage. But by the looks of it, Calzo, he's already 1.8 seconds clear, so.
Yeah, it was.
Konzo is still fighting with Jamie 1S.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Konzo is. He's pretty much taken up permanent residence behind the back of this Ferrari tonight. He's followed him around for the last. Oh shoot! At least the last 10 to 12 laps that I can remember.
I mean,
Konzo can still not pass Jamie.
Yeah.
He's got the tyre advantage as well, though. I mean,
he's going on the outside, complete outside. What a move! What a move!
He's still hanging. That was a bit naughty by Jamie then.
Well,
I mean, you're always going to get run out of. You're going to get run out of room there. I mean, at that point, so.
Yeah,
I think if you can see someone there, I think if you know someone is there, you should try to give them the room there.
I'm really surprised by the touch. I'm really surprised by Konzo's not passing Jamie. Given the tyre advantage, it should be pretty plain sailing, really.
Yeah, it just comes to show what kind of pace maybe Jamie had in the wet, which is really a shame. Maybe he should have just done the normal strategy that everybody else was doing, go on the wet tire.
Konzo should get a good run here.
Yeah, he's got a run now.
Didn't have a great exit though.
Thing is, they've both got the amount of ERS. Jamie's got enough ERS to defend him in there, I think. Really surprised Konzo didn't try to have a go there, though, to be honest. He was within touching distance.
I want to know when those tires go pop, because he's been on those. Jamie 1S has been on those tires for 28 laps. They've got to be. I would imagine they've got to be screaming.
Yeah, I think Simply's Thomas has put his foot down a little bit now because he's just on the brink with Simply now. It was 2.6 seconds a couple of laps ago, and it's now 3.1, 3.2. So I think Thomas has probably realised he's had to put his foot down a little bit now. So obviously to save fourth place at the moment. At the moment, this is the only battle we've actually got on track is Fonzo and Jamie at the moment. Fonzo's got a really, really good run on him here. He's going down the outside. He doesn't.
Jamie's lost it.
Really deep. Fair play to Fonzo. He gives him a bit of room. But he's got the move done.
Yeah, and also giving Jamie the bit of room probably helped his exit.
Yep, he kept it nice and tight while Jamie ran kind of deep into the first part of the S's, and hey, it's finally done. He's probably happy about that. He can see if he can pull away, or if Jamie tries to come back at him before the end of this race. But I mean,
Driver of the day, guys.
Driver of the day. I'm gonna give it to Fruitful. He's driven brilliantly. I don't see why we can't say Fruitful has been the driver of the day, unless you guys disagree. Or
I think you can have to say Fruitful, but I'm going to give mine to Thomas, just because I think what he did for Fruitful was probably the difference of him having a healthy lead and not. I think he's played the number 2 role perfectly.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He definitely played. Well, he played the team game really well at the beginning of this race, giving his teammate, what was at the beginning, 13 seconds of a lead. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why you would say that. And because you said it and put it that way, it kind of makes sense why we would give it to Thomas.
I mean, you obviously got your own opinions. I'm just saying, I'm not too convinced Fruitful would have been winning this race had Thomas not been in second.
As Fruitful comes to the line.
But he drove brilliantly, Fruitful. There's no
P1.
denying that.
And Al's championship. I'm not sure if it's totally wrapped up, but he has taken P2 tonight, and Calzo in the Renault should be free and clear of the final podium position.
Simply just dropped out the 3-second mark. He was just under the 3 seconds. I don't think Simply's going to jump him. He loses out by just 3/10 in the end. Simply does. He must have quite a poor run
has won the championship, guys.
So there you have it. Al has won his second championship, I believe.
Yes, mate.
Yes, with in contest of speed. So.
Yeah, well, congratulations to him.
Racing Point have also won the constructors, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, for Racing Point tonight, all they had to do was score at least 1 point to wrap constructors up. Any other circumstance, I think I worked it out. The most that could have even happened was both Mercs finishing 1-2 max points, with both Racing Points outside the points. So that just isn't going to happen with the quality of drivers they are.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the points table, Altier would have scored 18 points for today, with Lego only scoring 2, and he only needed to gain another 10 points to secure it for himself, which he's gained 16 over Al. So yeah, so technically, even if Al doesn't race in the lot, even if he chooses not to race in the last races, he will still win it by 4 points, even if Lego wins it. So yeah, he's definitely wrapped it out. And I think Fruitful can still catch Lego for second place though.
I said it before the start of the before the start of the stream, and Fruitful Q from last year's game to this one has completely gone to another level, I feel.
He's turned it on big time.
Yeah, something's clicked there with Fruitful. He's always been quick, but now I think he's really, really quick.
It really shocked me.
I
with
presume
fruit.
Lego will get the fastest lap because I mean I don't know whether that lap time is true or 118 dead or not. I'm kind of holding a bit of doubt to whether that's a true lap time or not.
You can go.
Unless
No, he received 2 warnings on that lap.
yeah. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. Who's the next person in line for it? I think it's Calzo, isn't it? Because Raikkonen won't get it.
Yeah.
No, it was Calzo, so I think Calzo's the one that's got the fastest
Can you
lap
just
point.
say? Can you just say to be honest?
What, to be honest?
Yeah, there you go. Another shot.
All right, I will try to get these guys in. Yeah, it would have been a great race to have a full grid in that situation. Oh, that would be the hope. Hello. Oh, just trying to find Calzo. I had him on my friends list, but he has changed his name, so. And who do we have in? We have Fruitful and Calzo.
You should get Alcatia in here. He's
Yep,
champion.
I just sent him an invite.
Hello guys.
Hello.
Welcome. Well done.
Is that everybody? I believe that is everybody. So, MP or Ricky, would either one of you guys want to lead questions tonight, or?
I'll let MP do that as soon as he's the top dog this week.
All right, MP, go ahead.
Well, we'll start with you, Calzo. Obviously, a difficult start to the race with the having to go for a pit stop. I presume with a broken wing, but to fight back to P3 in the end was a great race. Let's hear it from your point of view for the race.
I put on a full wet setup in qualifying because I saw the weather, and qualifying was a sacrifice, and then launched off the start of the grid. I think I was at least in the top 6 off the launch, and I'll inside for turn 2, and then I saw Raikkonen made a mistake in front of me. He came back over towards the racing line as I was on the racing line and had Alcatia on my inside. So I bumped wheels at Alcatia, which then put me into Raikkonen, which broke my wing on both sides. So I had to pit, and I know there was a lot of folk behind me. I don't know if I broke anyone's wing behind me. If I did, I'm sorry. But I had no control.
I think it wasn't me who broke your wing. It was Raikkonen that came just in a dangerous manner.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to come back on so quickly after. I just saw him fly off. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I thought it was a great drive, and you definitely had the pace. I think it was a shame really for you to handle the stop early, because I think you had the pace to definitely, I think, possibly challenge Al and Fruitful for the top 2 places. But now, yeah, moving on to Al, you've officially got enough points to win the championship with one race to go.
Yeah.
Congrats. And how did your race go?
Well, first two laps were an absolute shit. Let's be honest. First lap I was just trying to avoid any contact to keep the front wing in good shape. I managed to do so. After lap 1 I think I was third behind Lego. And right on lap 2 I tried to attack him. He did I don't know how to describe it. He just did a really crazy move into turn 1. A very late move under braking. I almost crashed into him because of that. Then I fought with him all the way through the first sector, and then when I finally made the move, stick, he tried to keep on my line. It was impossible. It was my line. I had a line on that corner, and he just did the same as in Mexico. He ran onto the grass and rammed into me. But yeah, it was a difficult race for sure, but still really happy for the championship.
Yes.
And to move on to you, Fruitful. Well, congrats to Al for his achievements today. And yeah, to move on to you, Fruitful. Looked like you had a bit of a quiet race there out in front. Tell me how it went.
Well, I got a great start, just short shifting up to 5th and totally running from the start. And then all corners behind me that saw me 10 seconds in front, like in lap 3. And then drove it home. Made a few mistakes because I'm not used to not running ABS. So that was actually my first race without ABS. So made a few mistakes because of that. And then just was scared because my pace was literally nowhere. I think I was the worst one in top 4 next to Thomas. I had such a gap, they couldn't overtake me. So
well, I had a lot more of pace, but I was too far.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I
was
won.
I was catching you and just hoping for a mistake or something, but
yeah. And actually, Raikkonen was way quicker. Raikkonen would have got me, but he crashed
Raikkonen was bloody quick, and I think he has lost it on the downhill left corner.
Yep. Yeah, that was a trick corner actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trickiest corners for you guys look like the going through the first set of corners, the long left onto the long straight, and the second to last corner, just because they're such long corners.
Yeah, because they're very long.
Yeah, and actually the corner on the straight, on the back straight, the one with the big curb on the inside, that was actually a tricky one as well, because you can do it flat, but you can lose it easily. So it was quite a tricky corner.
Well, I didn't have problem in there because I was using a wet setup.
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
I risked it with the setup, so car was just like driving a boat, but still the fast left-handers were just horrible on traction. It was very easy to lose it.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you guys. I mean,
thanks.
Ricky and Mitch, what's your driver of the day?
My driver was Thomas, Fruitful's teammate, because I thought without Thomas, I don't think Fruitful would have got the win tonight.
Yeah, and I gave my driver today to Fruitful. So, but I think going back through the chat, the votes come in. It is for Thomas. Thomas played the team role tonight. He definitely helped you, Fruitful, with the. You went from 10 seconds to about 15 before Raikkonen got through Thomas. So he had a massive train behind him. He played a massive part in keeping your gap where it was.
Yeah, so happy with him.
That's what I'm trying to buy. Obviously he could have won, but I'm just saying that what he did was a great sacrifice.
I mean, I think my driver of the day goes to you, Fruitful. I think just because of the fact that it is a hard. A lot of people forget how hard it is actually to lead and just be nice and consistent. Not get any penalties and just manage the gap really more than anything. Not panicking if people are catching you, which I think you've done a really good job, to be honest. So,
Thanks.
my driver goes to you, and I'll hand it back to Mitch.
All right.
Well, I want to say one thing. I think
go ahead, Al.
Faithful deserves the driver of the day just because of the start he did.
Yeah, his start was fantastic. Going,
He
he was
flew up
gone.
the line, and then avoided all carnage and was on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit lucky to be honest, with the carnage behind.
No, I wouldn't say luck. You just did a perfect start, and just went straight because while the rest of us were killing between us. So.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
All right, so that will end the night. Contest of Speed will be back again for Tier 3. That'll be Monday night, 10 p.m. UK time. You can follow us all Tuesday for Tier 2, same time, 10 p.m. And again, back with us here for Tier 1 at Abu Dhabi, our last race of the season. Yeah, so I think, next week we have two championship battles that will be decided at Abu Dhabi. Technically Tier 2, we have 2 races left for a rerun, but we will have a championship crowned in Tier 3, and that shall be a extremely exciting race. And like always, the Tier 2 race, a little bit of bias for me. It's probably going to be the best one of the week. But other than that, everybody have a nice night.